Relocation Football League fans. Well, we got lots to chat about today. Just making sure I got everything in order. My camera may seem a little bit dim. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and turn that music down. Camera definitely gonna seem a little bit dim because I still got some lighting issues in my room and it's daytime, so the sun is beaming through, and yeah, so never mind too much of that. But hey, I am glad to be here to be able to talk about, of course, the new college football game, recap the latest news, because I know we haven't really said or really dove into that on the channel. So I wanted to make sure just to do that for people who are RFL fans, people who've been following the college football. Everything here has already been out there. You probably already know about it, but I just wanted to go ahead and just get a little quick dive and recap into it, so that way, you know, we can at least say we touched on that, and then how it pertains to how it will translate into what we can do over here in the RFL. We got a whole lot of things coming for the RFL season. College football is back on the RFL channel. Even though technically it wasn't really a delay because usually it was a half a year gap. But let's go ahead and just get into everything so far. So the first thing I really wanted to dive into was the rankings week. We didn't touch anything, like I said, of the latest news that they dropped to the public. So just wanted to go ahead and get into that just for a recap. They were able to drop, of course, on the 25th toughest places to play. You got the sounds and the sights and sounds, a deep dive on that, which they dropped the video. I got downloaded here just to recap and show top offenses and defenses, and of course the overall teams. Now when it comes to top offenses and defenses and stuff like that with the overall teams, this really doesn't pertain too much to us. And when I say us, I'm talking about RFL, the RFL community, the fans, the people who are participating. There's going to be a decent amount of the college football game that we still will be able to participate in, but of course a lot of these still does not really factor into how our college series would go, because we're going to be advancing into the future. So first things first, let's go ahead and well, actually I thought I had I probably got to upload this myself another way here, because I think I forgot to upload that. So let me see if I can find the file just to show. Yeah, I did forget to upload this. So I'll just put this in place here real fast. And matter of fact, I'll just leave this up here so you guys can see. So these were the top 10 toughest places to play that they had. Kyle Field at number 1 with Texas A&M, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama at 2, at 3, LSU's Tiger Stadium, at 4, Ohio Stadium for Ohio State, Stanford Stadium for Georgia at number 5, Penn State with the Beaver Stadium at 6, Camp Randall Stadium for Wisconsin at number 7, at number 8, Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium for Oklahoma. 9 was the Doak S. Campbell Stadium for Florida State, and at number 10, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for the Florida Gators. So honestly, I'm not too much into college football to the point where I know every stadium and things like that. I've really learned a lot about college football from running the RFL college series. So from doing that, I kind of got an idea of solid teams, places to play. I learned about divisions, conferences, all of that through the RFL college series. And looking at some of these and knowing, you know, paying attention to college football as of late since doing that, kind of shocked. I mean, anytime you got a stadium that has home with the 12th man on it, should already let you know that it's rocking over there for Texas A&M, right? Because I mean, that's pretty much equivalent. We talked about Seahawks when it comes to the NFL. They call themselves a 12th man. That's a very tough place to play. And so, I mean, I guess I get it for that purpose if they really live up to that. And they haven't been the greatest as of late. So, I mean, anytime they're still going to be ranked number 1 after what's been going on the last couple of years with that team, you know, that kind of shows that fan base must really show out regardless. So, I mean, that's dope. Alabama being at number 2. And then kind of look at these places. You just look at teams that's just been winning as of late. They talked about that in the game, where the teams that, you know, if you're starting to find success recently, they also got that dynamic stadium attendance and stuff like that, which is dope. I wish Madden would do that, but, you know, NFL has been sensitive when it comes to that stuff like that. But I think that these programs that are up here has been very successful or have just been traditionally supported with a huge fan base. And so that's why they came up with the rankings like this here. Let me know where you would reorganize these or if you would add some teams to the mix. Just shocked, in my opinion, still at Texas A&M up there. Never been to any of these stadiums to see how it goes. So, it is what it is. I don't know too much about that. So moving forward on to the from the top 10 toughest places to play, we really don't have to worry about these. And I'll take this off right now. The reason why I say we don't have to really worry about the toughest places to play is because as we advance in the future, I heard that in the franchise, in the dynasty, that as you're moving on, those things move around. So like you could be number one at first, but then it goes down if you're not successful. Since we're advancing into the future until all real life college prospects and for the NFL are gone, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a random top ranking for who are the top 10 or top 25, whatever places to play. So because of that, those top 10 don't really pertain to us, but just wanted to cover it just because we did. Another thing, of course, is the sights and sounds. Just let the video play a little bit, even though I'm not going to let the whole thing play out. But pretty much with the sights and sounds, these guys really touched base on saying that they took every single college FBS school to 134 to heart as if it was as if somebody was a fan of the team, right? So that means that every team is going to have their own unique tradition when it comes to game day, even certain calls and stuff. I heard somebody say on this video who gives a hoot and stuff like that. Now, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff going on, so I don't even know who that's for. I think it's for Kennesaw State. I heard they suck. But anyway, even Kennesaw State's getting justice done to them, pretty much what they're saying. Another thing that comes with the sights and sounds just comes with the fact that we're going to have multiple announcers like Madden's going to have. So it's good to have some different commentary teams just to go along, just to mix some things up. Of course, we're going to be calling our own games over here in the RFL, but at the same time, premier games. There's going to be a lot of premier games because this college series will be the biggest college series ever in RFL college series history, because we're not just sticking with 32 college teams. We're focusing on the entire 134 FBS schools. We will be tuning in, trying to watch their games, of course, trying to stream as much as we can, trying to get the top 16, of course, for the channel. And we're working on trying to expand even for more games onto maybe a secondary channel that has that's for the conferences and stuff like that. Not going to speak too much on that because we still haven't gotten to where we're going to go with all that moving forward, but just wanted to let you guys know that there. They even went down in depth talking about, they even included hand signals. So Miami boys, the Miami cartels, they like to call themselves in the RFL. You guys got the U that's going to be within the game. The Texas Longhorns, that going on. Unfortunately, they didn't put the horns down for if they're getting stumped on. But hey, at the end of the day, at least they got those signs in the game, so that's cool. Talk about NFL being sensitive, Texas being sensitive right there. Let's see what else we have here to talk about. Okay, yeah, and then of course for their big sounds to make it as close and traditional sounding to the real life counterpart is that they've taken actual footage and well, not footage, but sounds from broadcast games, like at the actual big games. And so the sounds that you saw were literally taken from we talk about Penn State when the way the crowd reacted, the Mo Bamba, all that stuff. We seen all of that. So like I said, not going to dive too much into everything for too long, but just wanted to go ahead and touch in on those parts because, of course, again, we did not do that when this news was being released. And so that moves on to the next, which is looking at the top 10 offenses and defenses. Again, for us in the RFL, this doesn't really pertain to us at all. So all this is going to be different once you guys choose your schools. So the transfers are done, the reinstatements and stuff are paid for, and the new guys get added on. So this top 10 will not be what it is for us, especially after advancement. But these are the top 10 offenses and defenses that they have in the game when you get your hands on it. Still, again, wanted to just touch on it. So at number 1 for offense, 94 overall is Georgia. And also with a 94 overall is Oregon. Then at number 3, We have Alabama at a 91, along with Texas at 4, Ohio State. Oh, well, those are only two 91s. Then we get to 89 at number 5, Ohio State, along with LSU, Miami, Colorado, and Missouri. So all of those are 89s. And they go, of course, in that order in the ranking. And then at top 10 for offenses coming out with the game is Clemson at an 87. Looking at the top 10 defenses, got Ohio State at a 96. So they best, even the next best team of Georgia at a 94. Coming in at number 2 with a 90. And it looks like those defenses are definitely top tier, because after that it's a 4 overall dip off, going down to Oregon, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Michigan, which follow in that order from the top 10 at a 90 overall. Then at 89 is Texas, along with Penn State at 9. And finally at number 10 is Utah. Now, I will say, now these ratings won't pertain to us again in the RFL, because we will have our own rosters and everything when we start up College Series 7. But this kind of gives you a good idea of what teams are going to actually be solid, and probably even through the years of advancement still be as good as what you see here, or if not, in some cases could even be better. We don't know what's going to happen. That's what is building up the excitement, at least for me, when it comes to the RFL College Series, and I know for you guys too who are participating, because this is the first time we're going to be on an actual college football game. College football has been gone for a long time in general for the public, and so to have this big 134 game, everything coming back, and our biggest college series ever, like I said, covering, expanding to where we can stream any team. This is huge, man. And so it's good to kind of get an idea of what these were in terms of how good teams are coming into this, because it could last. I know that prestige back in Madden 14, I said Madden 14, NCAA 14 used to be able to last for a while, for at least to be able to land recruits. And then I'll be talking about, of course, recruits moving forward when getting into what's actually in the game from the Deep Dive Dynasty. Again, before I move into, well, here's the top 25. I'm going to go into that. I know it's a bit small, but I'll be able to read them out to you. But before moving into all that, just wanted to make sure that you guys know that when it comes to the college football game, that we are going to make sure that we try to cover as much games as we can that are big time, and we're trying to figure things out. But moving forward, the bigger that this league grows and the more help that we're going to get, especially moving to console, I think that's really going to help us out. I ain't no think that's going to help us. That's really going to help us out, because we know that now we can draw from help from the community, from you guys. And I know a lot of guys have already stepped up and say, hey, I'll be willing to record and do certain things. But of course, we went through the top offenses, top defenses. Now let's look at the top 25 power rankings by team coming out when the game comes out. At number 1, you got Georgia. We know what streak they went on, man, as of late. Of course, lost that tough game, and then ended up not making it even in the playoffs, which was tough for them after just one loss after going, I think, what was it, like 2 years undefeated, 2.5 years? I can't remember how long it was, but those boys was definitely dominating. But a 95 overall at number 1. Number 2, Ohio State at 93, along with Oregon. And then at number 4, 92 overall, you have Alabama, along with Texas. At number 6 at a 90 overall, we have Clemson, Notre Dame, LSU. Number 9 at an 88 overall, Penn State, Utah, Michigan, Florida State, Miami, Texas A&M. These are a lot of 88s. Ole Miss. And then we get to number 16 with Colorado up here at an 87. I'm still kind of even shocked at this. I know the offense was very prolific, but based off the teams and stuff that they played and stuff like that, and how trash their offensive line is, I'm kind of shocked that that's a 87. But you know, it is what it is. We don't have to worry about it, because of course our rosters and everything will be different. But Oklahoma also at an 87, along with Wisconsin, USC, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Kansas, Arizona. I think that's an 80. Yeah, the rest are 87s as well. Oklahoma State, and at 25 is Iowa. Kind of shocked. Oh yeah, this isn't offense. At first I was thinking this was offense because I'm going to say Iowa's offense traditionally sucks. Their defense is really good. But those are the top 25 rankings. Again, just recapping what's already been pushed out there. I want to go ahead and handle that first and just also talk a little bit again how that translates to the RFL. I'm saving the RFL information later on. And excuse me if you guys are saying stuff in the comments right now. I'm just trying to make sure to power through this information and then be able to really field questions at the end of all this that I have to throw at you. Because again, like I said, it's going to be a lot of information. But that's the top 25 rankings. And then, of course, we get into the deep dive of what they showed. Again, I'm not going to play the audio. You guys can see this trailer if you haven't on the EA Sports YouTube channel, the EA College Football YouTube channel. And, of course, what we know is that there are going to be 32 users that can be in a dynasty for 30 seasons. That's traditional for, Madden. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, way back in NCAA 14, I don't know if you could have 32 people in a dynasty. Maybe I'm tripping, but I never played a dynasty with others on NCAA 14. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, 32 users, which opens up coaching, which I'll talk about in the RFL College Series. First time we're going to allow coaches to be in the RFL College Series, man. But of course, that's going to come with some things which I'll talk about. Of course, they also are going to be implementing the new 12-team playoff system. So that's great for us because first deal that is going to be introduced is going to be the first deal we grow this big and be able to see who can win a national championship in the RFL College Series, and to go through that 12-team playoff system. That's going to be pretty interesting to see who goes there. I believe the people who get in are the guys who are who win their conference. I could be mistaken. I'm not all the way brushed up on how that 12th playoff team system works, but I believe it might be when it comes to the conferences, and then maybe some others for some leeway or something if it isn't 12 conferences. But I'm pretty sure there's like, I don't know all the conferences, but you know what I'm talking about. So another thing is about recruiting. So when it talks about recruiting, man, these guys talked about how there's going to be over 3,500 generated high school players for you to be able to recruit. Of course, certain regions to represent real world hotspots that you talked about. So it's going to be like you getting some leverage if you got a guy near you and certain stuff like that. This is, of course, a lot you could see very similar when it comes to how NCAA recruiting was on 14, but of course, a lot more in depth. And you can see right there when they're talking about the 14 areas in which can impact a player and their interests towards going to your institution or going to a college. Now, why does recruiting matter in the RFL for us? I will explain that when we get into the coaches, more so because you guys are actually going to be able to recruit. It's not going to be a lot to it, but you're going to be able to do it anyway if you choose to become a coach. And again, I'll go more in depth with that more towards the end. Recruiting is going to be in depth, as I talked about, a lot more in depth. And what makes me believe that even though we're going to be advancing in the future, it's good to, I think the good teams are still going to be good, even though we don't know what's all going to happen in the future, because it's hard to land prospect. I keep saying prospects because I'm so used to the pros. It's hard to land these recruits for the college because, again, if you're a trash team, it's even harder because it's in depth. So it's harder to land really good players. So I think even though we're going to advance 5 years in the future to make sure everyone's out, it's still going to be very difficult for those low-end programs like a Kennesaw State to be able to land like 5-star recruits. You know what I'm saying? So I think for the most part, the prestige of schools and the tradition of how good they've been is still going to last for that good while. And so that's going to be, great moving forward in that aspect, just for some realism. Also, they talked about how some players got some deal breakers. So it's like if you don't have this, they'll lock you out. And for anybody who's in NCAA 14, you already know how lockouts is. You're not going to have a shot to even, really place a bid to try to sway them to come to your college. So that's big time, because now you really have to take into account what the player is looking for. And you could lose out on landing a good player just off of that. If a guy's more about his academics, if a guy's more about the athletic facility, whatever it is, you could lose a guy just straight off of that and have to really find ways to swim outside with recruiting visits and different things like that to try to get them to, have a second look at your institution. Let's see what else here that I have down. And yeah, transfer portal. So the transfer portal is going to be something, of course, that doesn't really pertain towards the RFL, but where it will pertain is for the generic players. So if there's a generic player who seems to be disgruntled about where he's at and he ends up entering the transfer portal, I'll have to look more into that and how it's going to go. But even generic players are going to be able to move, and if they're a top tier player like that, then you can end up landing a top tier player going to your school or something. But the only thing, of course, is in the RFL College Series, you don't get to do like in real life where you guys are going to be transferring every year of college football. That's not going to happen. We're about consistency in the RFL. So you have to make sure that you hold up real fast. I got some, but you have to make sure that you I lost my place, my bad. I'm just dropped off some food. But let me look at this again, just to make sure I catch up where I was at. Oh yeah, you have to make sure that you only transfer once. So a lot of guys are already done with their transfers. When it comes to the college series player too, as a generic, they're only going to be able to transfer once too. Again, I'm still looking more into this, but I'm thinking that could be a possibility for even just storylines around the league for college guys to be able for generic players to be able to move around and make things happen in the RFL. That'll be interesting to look at. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, most of everything's familiar to, like, it kind of looks familiar when you see the recruiting and stuff like that to NCAA 14. But again, things are in depth. I'm hearing some things about social medias. You're going to be able to like dudes' social media posts and things like that. This is more so for guys who just have the game to be able to play it. Not going to be able to do really too much of this as an RFL coach because of, the way we have to move from game to game and things like that. And it's actually played out like a real season. But they touched up on the customization aspect of this game. And that brings up something because you can customize conferences. And I will put this idea out there for you guys and for guys who aren't necessary participants as players or coaches. But if you are interested, potentially next year, it won't be this season, but next year, if you can really make a name for your team builder team and you want to join the RFL and put your team in the RFL college football conference, which is something I'm thinking about. Again, this is not official, but it's something I'm thinking about. There might be an opportunity for that. Now, it of course comes to, we have to see what teams have to be out, because I'm pretty sure you can't add more than the 134 teams that are there. You're going to have to replace them with those teams. And so if we're replacing those teams, we'll have to see specifically how many can we replace. Will it make sense to do that? Because even a low-end team, if they're part of a solid conference that everyone likes and wants to see, then, you want to see that. You guys are still going to want to see the terrible team that's in a conference. And nothing really comes to mind because, like I said, I'm not really too much of a college football fan like that to know everything about teams like that. I've learned a lot, again, through the college series. But you guys know what I'm talking about. If you're if you're going up against like a Ball State or something, you're in that conference and you got a better team in that conference, you still want Ball State there on the schedule because of the realism. You wouldn't want that team necessarily just erased just for the college series, and then now the MAC conference or whatever part of conference they're in doesn't feel the same or look the same because that team's not there. So we're thinking about it. We're really thinking about it and looking forward to potentially adding that as something we can add to the customization and just the league in general. There won't be a lot of teams, like I said, probably looking at relocating, getting rid of one conference. They still got the Pac-12, as you can see from the game, if you were paying attention to that, in there, and we could probably turn that into the relocation conference. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. But I just want to put that idea out there. So for guys who are interested in team builder and things like that, we're passionate about it. Got a YouTube channel on it, and been working it for years and stuff like that. I know there's some YouTubers out there. I'll talk to some YouTubers, see if they'll be interested in possibly that as well for teams they've created. But we'll see. But yeah, you can create up to a 20-team super conference, or you can make it just like the actual conference, the traditional conference alignments and stuff like that with divisions and stuff like that they were talking about. So yeah, we'll look into that. But these are all things you can do in the game outside, of course, the RFL. And like I said, talked about revealing the coaching now. So talking about coaches, I will say this, coaches, we won't have coordinators. So coordinators, everything. What I plan on doing with the coaching is this. All right. You could be a coach in the RFL, but you cannot change playbooks or schemes. And the reason I say that is because what is great for the growth of college football and the RFL for the college series is people want to see the teams actually run what they actually run in real life. So you don't want to see Alabama out there running a triple option like they're Air Force or Army, whatever, military, Navy. I forgot which one it is that used to do that, or Georgia Tech back in the day. You want to see them running a pro style offense as they traditionally do, and that goes for any team in the college football world. So that's where we can separate college coaches from the RFL pro coaches, right? Because you get more in-depth detail on what you can do with your team at the RFL level, because you get to choose the playbooks, you get to choose the scheme, you get to choose all that stuff and do everything for the team from that aspect. You just can't do that as a college coach. But what you can do as a college coach in the RFL, as we have made this a new feature, is you can do everything else. So you can recruit, you can when I say recruit, I mean recruit college series prospects, guys who are in the Discord trying to get on the team and stuff like that. You can really talk to them, try to swim in and go in your school. You can handle everything when it comes to that team. Another responsibility is, okay, here's the responsibilities and what you have to have too in order to be a coach. It's half the price of what it is to be a coach in the RFL on a monthly fee deal. So it's $25 a month. For a coach, it's $50 a month. Hold up real fast. Yeah, my people's is turned right now. 4th of July. I forgot to say that. Happy 4th of July to the guys. Hold up, I gotta say it again. All right. Hopefully, yeah. All right, so I gotta get back to this because they turned up right now. I don't know what's going on. But hopefully you guys didn't hear that. But it's $25 a month, and that will be all year round, as coaches have to pay, because again, we need to fund the league to be able to pay for other things moving forward. So that's another way we can bring in a source of income, and another way in which you guys can participate. So that opens up 30 whole other spots for people to become part of the RFL staff. So if you're looking forward and interested in that, and you have the funds to be able to do that, you already know to get at me. But more things that you have to do. If you're a coach for a team, the good thing for people who join your team is that every game will be recorded, because your duty as a coach is to record every single game that is on your schedule. And whether that be through a premiere, and even if you're not one of our top 16 games that will go on the main channel, we're looking at, of course, making a secondary channel for the college series where you guys can at that point record those games and put it on there, so everybody who's a part of, like, say if we had an Alabama head coach, that Alabama coach will make sure all 12 games of the season is recorded, so you guys wouldn't miss a game. Now, will every game be on the main channel? No, but at least you know you can watch every single game your team played in. So that's a perk of having a coach in the RFL college series. Another thing is, I heard there's no crossplay in NCAA or in college football, the college football game. So unfortunately, you have to have a PlayStation. We're pro PlayStation over here in the RFL, man. Xbox guys, I'm waiting for cross compatibility to be a real thing so that we can bring on coaches from the PC or Xbox level as well. I know a lot of guys are looking forward to that, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen right now for this season. Hopefully next year, since they are working towards that. But only PlayStation guys can apply right now. If you do not have a PlayStation, you cannot apply to be a coach in the RFL College Series. You cannot. We already talked about the college playbooks. You guys know about that. Of course, you guys can do everything else within the game. Now, when I say that and we talk about recruiting, this is why I wanted to circle back to the recruiting. So with recruiting, you're going to be able to try to land some generic prospects on your team. Now, will you get every single player that you recruited for your team as a coach? No, you won't. We're looking more into what that might be, but we might have it where it's your top 3 players or 3 players of your choice that you were able to land from your recruitment in the game. You can be able to have the following year as a freshman in the RFL College Series. So that's good, and that's for moving on to the next game. So when when college football 26 comes out, you'll be able to take at least 3 of those guys that you landed there to be on your squad. So that's at least something where at least now you can still recruit in game and do and have fun with that if you're a coach in the RFL College Series as well. Can be used. Oh yeah, and also this helps because this can be used as a way to help you work your way up the ranks to be a coach in the RFL. Because if you're doing a good job at the college level and then you're like, hey man, I want more control. I'm liking what's going on at the pros, man. I think I can really take a team to a Reload Bowl. And you want to work your way up that way. It can be done. So this is a great way to showcase what you got without having to spend as much money as starting out as a coach and things like that. And of course, there's a lot more things you just have to get together and show that you can be a coach in the RFL. And of course, I'm planning to open up applications on the website for college coaches. So I'll try to probably make something like that tomorrow or something. Tomorrow I am going to be pretty busy with work, but at the same time, whenever I get some time, I'm trying to get something on the website where you guys can apply to be a college coach that way. See what else. Yeah, so that's mainly it. I was going to go into, the coaching and everything that you can do within the game, but I'm pretty sure all this has been brushed up on multiple channels and of course through the EA college football channel. So I just wanted to make sure that I was able to touch on the main things and how they kind of relate to the RFL. And I believe that I was able to do that here with this. So next up is the deadlines, man. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Deadlines. So July 10th is the last day that you can reinstate as a returning player in the RFL College Series. What does that mean? If your player played in College Series 6, in order for you to participate in College Series 7, you have to pay your reinstatement fee. If you do not pay your reinstatement fee, your player will be dropped and cannot come back. That means your career is done. And if you try to come back, you have to create an entirely different player. Nothing you've done from the past will count. So make sure your name is on the reinstatement list that Mix has put in the Discord. All right. And this is me focusing on returning players right now. I'm about to get to new players as well. There will be no exceptions. The 10th is the date. You cannot pay on the 11th and say, man, I just got, I know some guys have, talked about their situation and stuff like that, but you guys know how I stand on deadlines, and you guys had always since the College Series 6 ended, which was a couple months ago, I believe, to where you could have paid your reinstatement fee. With you trying to do it now, that's on you now, So, and another thing is that it would be, kind of unfair to accept late fees when other guys, because at the same time, they're going to be coming to me asking me, well, I want to pay for my player. I'm not trying to deal with that, and we got to move. So we're not doing anything past July 10th for reinstatement fees. All right. And reinstatement fees, I'm going to tell you guys this. If you paid $45 for the 90 overall player, you were not supposed to pay that. All right. You were not supposed to pay that as a reinstatement unless you are a new guy and you were trying to get a 90 overall player. That's why the applications for new players, you only have to pay 15 minimum just to get your application through, because that's the minimum player that you can get. And then if you select a player higher, when we start building players, that's when you have to pay the difference. So you don't have to pay the $45 because your player was a 90 and he's returning. If you're a returning player, the returning reinstatement fee will always be $15. Okay? $15 is always the reinstatement fee. Your initial entrance into the college series, that's when you pay the 45 or whatever overall you are then, and then it's $15 moving forward. Okay, so that's about the reinstatement. Now we're getting into the new players. So you guys, I put up on Instagram, on my Instagram story, on the RFL Instagram story, that July 16th will be when player applications are closed. So that's like the deadline for when you can apply to get a player in the league, right? I am looking at potentially extending to the 19th with a late fee, and where you would get charged $15 extra based off of what you're paying. So it will be like, instead of your minimum being 15, it will be 30. So I'm thinking about it, but again, based off of timing and how fast we could get this series going and how we're moving, this might not end up being an option, and we might have to just build what we got by then and just start the series. But I do want to throw out there might be a late fee for only new players. For returning guys, there's no excuse. All right. But just wanted to put that out there. So if you do not have a player in by the 16th, then, you know what I mean, you're going to have to wait until next year. All right. And then on the 16th, we're also planning on doing the first stream, because that's the early release date. So on the 16th, we're going to go live creating the reinstated guys. All right. So the reinstated guys have to be built first before you guys, new guys, can know who you're choosing. And so going from that, I want to also let you guys know who are new, you guys are not officially committed to any college at this point. Again, because I've seen a lot of confusion about this in the Discord. Any new player is not officially committed to any college right now, because you have not even seen who's going to be on that roster for you to select from. It might be a good player and you end up staying there, or you might just be like, it may not be what I expected, but I want to go to this school, so I'm going to end up just choosing this player anyway and then building him up through Relo Bucks and stuff like that. And then it might be a situation where you're like, man, this guy on this team that I wanted to go to, he sucks. I don't want to take over this guy. So now you got to look for someone else on a different college. And that's the reason why the applications were worded that way. So the application had it where you had pretty much your top 3 choices of college, so that we can get an idea of what to look at when we're building your player, what schools might have what you're looking for. All right. So yeah, I think that was the main thing right there. So you got that. No positions. Again, that's why we also opened up to positions, because say for instance you wanted to be a wide receiver, and then you end up trying to go to that school, and it's like, oh man, that wide receiver position sucks, but I want to stay at this school. But your second choice of position was like a DN, and they got a good DN on that school. Now we could say, okay, well, you could take over this player and you'll end up being a defensive end instead of a wide receiver or whatever it is that you had. And then you just have to, at that point, adjust what your size is supposed to be if it's different. If you're a wide receiver and you was, 5'10", 185 pounds, and your second position was DN, you can't be that, of course, as a DN. That we have minimum and maximums in terms of heights and weights, and then you'll have to just choose from there, and we'll negotiate and talk that all through the live stream. So on the 16th is going to be when we're recreating the returning guys. On the 17th is going to be the date that we're going to be creating the new guys. That's if we finish creating the returning guys, which I'm pretty sure we will. Currently we got like 45 returning guys, I think. So that should be able to get made, because it's not just going to be me in the file building these guys. We'll have other guys. And I see a hashtag message. It might be something said, stop ignoring college series news and mixed DMs. Let me see. I haven't, because my thing either isn't updated right now, or I didn't get it. Oh, he's talking about, oh, okay. I thought you were talking to me. I was about to say, I ain't got no DMs from you, Mix. But yeah, so that's where we are with the new players. Let me see. Oh yeah, and right now for guys who want to join, don't know what the steps are, I want to also show you guys how to apply. There are some guys who just don't simply know how to apply to join the RFL College Series, but are very interested. And so I will show you step by step how that is done right now here on the RFL website. So let me go ahead, turn that off, and here we go. So this is the RFL website. Let me turn this off right here. Okay, here we go. So this is the RFL website. I got my face covered, so I'll just be talking you guys through it, but you guys can see me maneuvering and moving this thing around right now. So if you're looking to join the RFL, obviously you can see right here, go to the Join the League tab, right? This right here that shows you how to apply. Great job by Connor Jameson. Shout out to you, my guy. But of course, this is now outdated due to the new game and everything else. So here you can choose to become a player, of course, a head coach, coordinator. This is more so for the RFL level. And this is right now too. I would not apply to be a head coach right here for the college series. This is for the RFL. And this needs to be updated as well since we're going to be moving back to console. But we will have a college series coaching application up probably within the next few days. So let's go to create, become a player. So boom, want to be a star. Of course, this is outdated, but it kind of hypes you up. So you can look at that. You know, this kind of gets you hyped up about, you know, the whole situation about being an RFL player, starting from the college level, making it to the pros, really starting your journey here. Then you hit apply here. So you apply, boom, same video pops up. This you need to read. I need to make that clear once again because people don't. And I never understand why. All right. You need to read this because this is where guys mess up on the application. This literally breaks down the whole application for you. This in red also is very important. So like even looking at this one-time $15 entry fee. However, you are applying. Okay, this is outdated, so this needs to be updated. So this says if you are applying to be a quarterback, the entry fee is $45. Now that was before we knew, of course, that the new college game and all that stuff was coming out. You do not have to pay $45 anymore to be a college series prospect because now you're competing against 134 or 133 other schools, and making it to the RFL is going to be a lot harder than it ever was. So we're going to be done with that. And it's going to be a whole different way. You're not just going to automatically be thrown into the RFL draft. If your player isn't selected by the game based off your performance, you will not be a part of that draft class, and you will have to either return another year, or if you played your 4 years already, just have to call it a career and try out free agency. So that's how it's looking right now in the RFL. It's going to be awesome because, again, that just brings that competitiveness now in the RFL and makes it even harder to be a pro in the league and even harder to work your way up to be a starter. So make sure you read all this. This is the height and weight restrictions that I was talking about. You cannot build a player in any of these positions that are not within these ranges. All right. So no more 5'10" or below quarterbacks. We're not doing that. We'll let you get a 5 in at 5'11". That's the lowest I'm going with it. You can't build a 6'8", 6'10" quarterback. That's dead. The highest you could be at a quarterback is 6'6". And here is the low weight requirements. 190 pounds is the lowest you could be at a quarterback to 245. All right. So that is your minimum and maximum. We just went through the quarterback right there. You can see the rest on the website right here before you apply. So once you look through all that, I also have this in the application so you don't miss it the second time around. So you would go to, boom, apply here to become an official prospect. Now here's the application. Simple. Put in your email address, first name, last name. These are the college choices I was talking about. You type in your 3 colleges just so we can get an idea. Of course, you're going to be able to choose whatever college you want to go to based off of who is there, right? But this just helps us understand what 3 colleges you would like to go to, so that way we can move faster in the process of trying to find your player that you'll be getting built over. Okay. Now, again, for guys who've been a part of this process and are saying, you know, are used to attributes, because in the former application, you used to put in your top attributes for, like, you get a 199, a 395s, 485s, I think 390s, and then 485s, but that's long gone and dead. All right. So what it is now is when you choose a player, you're starting from whatever that player is, and it's up to you to build him up. So if it's a scrambling quarterback you want, it may be a 90 there for you, but if that 90 overall quarterback ends up being a Pop-Tart in the backfield, you know what I'm saying? He's just sitting still. That might not be the guy or the college you want to go to. All right. So that's why, you know, you got to really, really give thought to where you're going to go. But again, help us narrow down your colleges so we can kind of move through further along the stream when it's your time. And then we got here, select your, top 3 positions that you would like to go. like to go to. Here's your jersey number as well that you would prefer. Already talked about that. And of course, already talked about the height and weight again, just so you don't miss it the first time. So if you miss it the first time, excuse me, this is the height and weight restrictions again for you, so you don't mess that up. All right. If anybody sends anything in here that is not aligned with the heights and weights, your player, I mean, you don't got any attributes, but man, I just feel bad for you. You know, I can't punish you in a way like I used to with attributes, but yeah, man, come on. We're not building that. But specific gear, this is free text, so you could just type out what gear you want for your player. You need to be as specific as possible. All right, so literally, it's easier for us to build your player's gear and all of that if you legit list what type of gear it is down to the color and everything, so we can find it in game and quickly put that on your player. All right, so right here, this section, this is the price ranges. So the minimum is 15. That's the entry fee of submitting a player into the RFL. A $15 submission can get you a 70s overall that you can get built over. So what does that mean? That means not just a 70 overall player, any player in the 70s you can choose to be your player where we'll build you. Okay, same deal for the 80s and the 90s. Some guys are saying, well, man, this is kind of like pay to win. And yeah, hey, man, at the college level, you can make some greats. And in the RFL, it's not like in the NFL where you can be one in where you have to play 2 years and then you can declare for the draft. You can be one and done in the RFL. So with that luxury, if you can be a 90 overall player and go, we can make that happen, you know, and that's if you get an invite and stuff like that. You'll have a good chance to enter the draft. Now, will you actually end up being a good player out of the draft is another question, because we've seen it. In the RFL, there have been players that were 99 overall and still come out in the 60s out of the draft. It's all about your play on the field, your production. Overall might help you get there, but again, now you're competing against 133 other colleges. Before, you used to compete against just 31. It's going to be harder to make it into the RFL, and it's going to be harder for you to be that great of a player coming out. All right, but these are the price ranges again: $15 for the 70s, 30s for the 30 for the 80s, and 45 for the 90s. Now, also with this range, you only paid $15 for this application, and it's mandatory that you do that in order for you to even submit it, which is why this button here, if you did not pay the money, your application will not go through, so we won't even get it. All right, so minimum 15 pay. That means we know for a fact that you can at least be a player, you know. Now the rest of this, if you choose to be a 30 or a 90s overall player from what you choose from right here, then you have to pay that difference on stream when that time comes. All right, so again, we'll be doing that live for you guys. So we're going to be going in order too of who applied. So if you're not there during the stream, we'll put out more information on that just to make sure you guys don't miss. You want to be there during the creation stream. All right, the creation stream is very key to making sure that you get first dibs on players. Now, for guys who are in the of course the situation, of course, that happened with Zeke during his departure, who did not get a refund, you guys will have first dibs if you paid more than $15 and you paid for that 90s overall player. Again, even this is not guaranteed. All right, it's all about who is there for you to select from. So if you're trying to get a 90s overall player and you had paid that full 45 and I can't reimburse you, that's the reason why I'm giving you first dibs over everyone else who applied this way, because you put forth money that of course I didn't take, but I'm trying to give you the best that I can, that I can give you for what happened. All right, so that's how we go in that order. And right here, player backstory. Anything you want to put about your player, we could use during live commentary games, just to even tell us about your player. This makes things interesting because you can harp on this during the stream, and it will always have your application. I have applications from the first ever RFL season, like literally from Damori Williams, the first submitted player in the RFL. I still have his application, and it's cool sometimes to look back to see what they put on that application, and we can read back on that and see what happens in the future with your guy. So, I mean, backstory, this can always be something fun for you and for us, you know, in the Discord in the future. And of course, about how you found out about the league, what made you apply. This helps us in our efforts on promotion and things like that moving forward, you know, how we can grow the league. And then after that, you submit, boom, hit that, and you pay. And a lot of guys ask after that, did my application go through? It'll tell you if it did or if it didn't. If it said, I'm gonna tell you this, if it took your money, it went through. All right. It's not going to take your money if it didn't go through. That means we got your application. All right. So we got your application, and we can move forward from there. And I think I can't. I see one guy talking about. I know he deleted the message. Well, hey, if you're new to simulation leagues, my guy, let me go ahead and turn this off. Where's that? Hey, I can understand if you just can't afford it. It's fine. We gotta make money over here in this league, right? But at the same time, too, one thing the RFL isn't, it's still not pay to win, because you can't do that in the RFL level. College, we're all right with that, because you can be a boss at the college level, but it does not mean that you're gonna come in and be a boss at the pro level. You can ask all the pros right now how difficult it is to even be that guy. So you can, yeah, pay your bread right now to give yourself a good shot, but it doesn't guarantee anything. You could still be a 99 overall player and not be the best in college football when this game drops. Still, you have a good chance to, and that's why, again, hence, you pay the money, but will you be is a whole different question, especially when it comes to real simulation, right? If you are a top dog and you're going to a top program and you're going to the school, if you're not performing 99 all you want, guess who's making the ratings? Not EA, me. If you're not top dog in those categories, your overall will show it. All right. So make sure. So when it comes to that, and guys keep saying, "Oh, it's not. Nothing's guaranteed." You could go ahead and pay to get your advantage right there, but there still could be a guy who's a 70 overall that ends up being better than you, and he paid less. So with that not being a guarantee, I'm fine with doing that at the college level. You definitely can't do that at the RFL level, though. That's for sure. You have to work. It's a grind at the RFL level. It is hard to make it and start in the RFL. It's going to be a lot harder now moving forward. All right. So anybody has a problem with the pay with the pay, I'm fine with it, man. Just don't apply. But the ones who want to start their journey, who want to take this realism path that's been going on for the past 9 years, then hey, let them enjoy. You can't pay, that's fine. But you go ahead and try to compare our prices to other leagues. And don't even compare, especially with the quality that you're getting, right? Try to compare that and be honest. There's guys out here charging $500, $600, bro, for little things. And we're asking for 15 or 45 to even get you that and to actually have an even higher quality of your road to the RFL, which isn't even guaranteed. That's realism at its finest. We're asking for pennies compared to certain leagues. All right. So boom, still got to make our money. If you hating on that, I don't know what to tell you. Let's see what else. I believe I might have hit on everything that we needed to. So I'll probably leave this open for open questions. Yeah, I already think I went through everything. Yeah. So now I will look at the community questions here in the chat and see what we got going on, man. Just make sure to write down screenshot before deleting. Okay. And Hodge says, just because you may come as a 90 overall in the college series in college, if you play trash, yeah, that is a huge fact. Pretty much RFL guys letting you guys know what it is. He said, I was an 89 in college. In the pros, I was a 43. Who was that? Ain't nobody get that bad of overall drop off. That'd be terrible. So I was a 94 in college, came in as a 77. I won the Natty Best Running Back Award. Yeah. Yo, you could be a beast. Bro, since the inflation era ended in the RFL, because that was just the way I ran the league back in the day. Before I started establishing rules, man, the highest overall you could be was an 84. Since then, only one guy has came in 81 as a rookie, and this dude was a defensive player who won our version of the Heisman, which is called the Mackey Award, due to the first ever MVP in the RFL named Hunter Mackey. That dude did all that just to be an 81 as a rookie. And he had broke unbelievable records. I think that's the best defensive season we're ever going to see in college football. And he came in at 81. So if you're not even on that elite of a level, where do you think you're going to be at? And not only that, it depends on your situation. You could end up being, okay, I'm an 80, I'm a 79, but based off the team that you go to, it still is a grind to get to the top and be a starting player in the RFL. Not only that, get playing time. And if you don't grind, we don't feel any pity towards you because you went through the college level. There's going to be somebody else who's going to be willing to take your place if you stop grinding. If you're not getting the reloads and your guys just, you're letting them just get the in-game development and stuff like that. You got the normal dev, because the game, I'm using the game to drop off development traits now. So that's going to be even harder. If you got a normal dev, your guy ain't growing like that, and then on top of that, you're not being active to get reloads and stuff like that, your guy will be out the league quick. Or he'll be just a role player because he was solid, but you never made him elite, right? So trust me, man, it's a grind. It is not easy to make it into the RFL. And that's what makes the process very fun, though, because you don't know how good your player is going to be. You don't know. You could be trash, he could be one of the best college players or whatever, and just a solid college player and just never get an invite. Now he can't be in the RFL. Oh yeah, that's one point I did not point out. In order, it used to be automatic that you enter the draft. It is no longer automatic that you go into the RFL draft, right? If you're a user player, you have to get invited by the game, and the way that happens is it says from the video I was showing earlier. I can't find or pinpoint exactly where it's at, but if it says this player entered the NFL draft, that's your invitation. If you don't have that near your player at the end of the season, then your player was not selected to enter into the RFL draft. So that means you have to wait and play again next season. Or, if it's your last year, like I said, you're going to have to, that's it for your college career, and you'll have to try to get in free agency. And then I have to build a super low overall or something that matches your player. And you'll have to roll from there. We do have to fill in our free agency in the RFL, man, because that's definitely an area that has been, since we've been running 2 files, that's been kind of ran by generic players that are a little bit above where they should be and stuff like that. So we're working on free agency. That's a great way to fill it in. All right, so let me go ahead and catch up with some more. It says, seeing people pay for like 5 people, is that okay? Yeah, so only returning players. So I know guys were talking about, because before there used to be a rule that you could not pay for nobody else to be in the RFL. That is the case still for new players, right? So if it's a new player, you never participated in the RFL College Series before, you have to pay your own money. Nobody else can pay that for you. We have to make sure, for one, you are a separate entity. If you are not a separate person and that is not proven, and somebody else is trying to pay for you or whatever it is, we find out your player is dropped. Simple as that. Or you're just not getting in the series. But if you are a returning player and you, for whatever reason, don't have the money, we already know you're a separate person. So if somebody can spot you with the money, then we got you. That's the only way somebody else can pay for you, which is why that's just now been happening. You said, how will we know who make the playoffs? Well, that will be within the game. If you're talking about the college football playoffs, it'll be however the game gets those top 12 teams in there. You said, will skin color be addressed on screen for player creation? Yeah, so guys will be able to yeah, we'll be able to build your player right then and there. So whatever it is to create your player and how he looks, we'll make sure to do that right there on stream. Another thing that comes with that is if you're not present during the stream and you don't pay that difference during the stream, all I will do is just put your name over the player. I will not create your player on stream. So if you're present during the creation stream and you pay the difference of the player that's available there that you want, then I will fully create your player right there on the stream. Other than that, I'll just put your name there for a placeholder until that is done. Moving forward. He said, we're not going to make guys without skin. These are good questions. About to give Ling Shao a fade. Just reading through these, trying to make sure I get every question I can. And more so guys just explaining, how would freshmen get that? All right, so with the freshmen, I'm pretty sure just like the old NCAA game, you could edit classes. So we would change, like whoever you choose to get built over, if you're already old enough, then you'll be selected from the draft. If you are a rookie, a freshman, and you're trying to be one and done, well, you have to play 2 seasons this year based off of there not being no RFL draft this year. But after one and done, after that, if your player is like a sophomore or it's a freshman or whatever, then we'll just edit it to like a junior or a senior, and that way you can get taken and eligible for the game to choose you out of the draft for the draft class. So what if you get the draft letter the first year and not the second? Well, we're not paying attention to first year since we know we got to go to the second. So the draft letter, we're not even going to tell you who made it. We're just moving on to the next game. So we won't even know who's going to get those invitations until EA College Football 26. Hey, Kamish, if I'm buying in, I could use a made-up name that I made. Are you talking about as a coach? GSE Phoenix? Or are you talking about as a player? Either way, you can create a fictional name. You don't have to use your real name. Yeah, you don't have to use your real name. You can create a fictional player. Just make sure that your social media accounts or whatever is linked to the RFL emulates that. So if you're going with this John Blake or James Blake guy, then when you join the Discord, make sure your account has James Blake on it and everything, so that way we can identify that as you. Yeah, so I predict that it's going to be either 3 or 4 live streams when the game comes out with the player creation, because day one we're creating the reinstating the guys who are coming back to make sure that we have those guys built first before you guys know who you can choose from. That'll be on the 16th. Again, on the 17th, that's the creation of the new players. So I will go with the guys, of course, who have priority of when they ordered and stuff like that. They will get they will be able to get their first choice first before everybody else, and then we just go down the line from there. Do you win any money playing the college game? No, you don't. So this is all like experience. Pretty much, yeah, we fund the league because it is a lot of work on our end to run this. Got to get paid for what we do. And yeah, so. And more so, like, it's more of a situation where, like, I'm the main one got to make the money because, I mean, we don't make that much, you know what I'm saying? And if I got to keep this afloat and pay for other things, that's just about almost most of what we do, and I have to pay for my own life. So there's a lot of guys who work here out of their freeness, just to do it, you know what I'm saying? Because they love the league. If you don't have that type of love for the league, now, honestly, this ain't the league for you, man. We don't want dudes here that just here just looking for just that monetary gain, because you're not, that's draining. If you're looking for that, you will not be successful here. That's all I'm gonna say. it will not work out for you. But you know, down the lines where we feel that this can go, once it gets big and it makes its own money and stuff like that, all those things will definitely be a possibility. But anybody complaining or talking about money and stuff right now, man, we are not that big to be dishing out stuff like that. So that's definitely not happening at the moment. But definitely something to look forward to in the future. He said, I've been here 4 years now. I just now got drafted. Yeah. So do you know if CS8 will start around same time? Yeah. So the way that the RFL scheduling goes, that kind of that's why our scheduling is perfect for game releases. So every July, as soon as the new college football game comes out, we're already getting started on trying to start the college series season. And then in January is the RFL season. So that'll always be you know, consistent when it comes to when starting times will be in the RFL. Make sure I ain't miss any other things. Okay, I think I'm caught up on things. Stack reload. Yeah, reloads are very important, man. And again, reloads aren't necessarily something that you have to pay for either. You can pay for you to get reloads, a certain amount of reloads on a monthly basis. But again, if you don't have the money or you just don't want to spend the money to get reloads to help upgrade your player, then you got to be active. That's the trade-off. If you're not active, then you won't get the reloads. If you're not putting down the money to get reloads, then you know you're not going to get anything, and then your player is just going to have to rely on what he does himself in game. And at the RFL level, again, like I said, unless you're like one of the top tier players, I don't think that's going to work out for you. You won't last there long. I thought this stream honestly would last longer than 2 hours, 3 hours or something right now. I'm gonna be honest, man. Covered everything I needed to cover for the most part. Looks like I'm caught up on the questions. Yeah, college series definitely finna be lit, man. Um, what I'll do is next 3 minutes, well, I'll say 2 minutes. If you got any questions, again, make sure to put them down here for me to answer live. If not, then within the next 2 minutes, I'll be ending this stream. Can't wait to watch the game. Yeah, the games are gonna be lit, man. Games are gonna be lit. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yep, no problem, man. Thank you guys for the participation. So were some of the older videos on the channels deleted? We had got hacked a year ago, and what happened is they put a lot of our, well, they had originally every game, every video set to private, and we had to make it public ourselves. So there is a lot of videos still from the RFL that haven't been set to public because, man, we've had a lot of videos on this channel, haven't had the time to go back and make those, you know, come back. But if there's any video you can remember particularly, try to message me and I'll try to see about making that public again, if need be. But that is something I'm looking to do whenever I have some good off time to be able to change for you guys. No, well, to change back for you guys to be able to see those old videos. But every other game, all the playlists has the games though. Like every season should have all those games. I'm just wondering when will CS7 start. So of course there's no set date because we have to create all you guys first. So that's going to take time. We have to create promotion to hype up the season. We have to get the graphics, everything ready for what's to come, and you know, to make sure we run this like how the RFL does. And I think with the help we got now with this being back on console and the fact that a lot of people can actually help out in that area, I could see us starting up the season like the last week of this month or the beginning of August. So that's how fast I think we'll have everything done. Yeah, I think that might be it for questions right now. It has been the 2 minutes. I appreciate you guys who asked questions. Appreciate you guys who tuned in. And with that being said, I'm gonna go finally eat this Wendy's meal that my mom finally dropped off to me. You feel what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And if you got questions for me, send them on Discord or whatever it is. I'll try to get with you guys on that. But yeah, that's all for me. It's your boy Smitty, RFL commissioner and play-by-play commentator, and I will see you guys next time for the next piece of content pertaining the RFL College Series and the RFL in general. Peace.